brothers and sisters. Sister Xiaoqing, are we going to set to begin? Okay, this is a sound test. Can everybody hear me? This is Joe from Huang. Can everybody see me and can everybody hear me? If we're okay, then we will begin. Okay, all right. It is 7:01, so I think we will begin. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our weekly Lotus Sutra review. And finally, I think for the past 2 weeks, I was always in suit and ties in outside different locations. But finally, this week, I'm back home, and it feels great to be home. So when Master spoke of the joyous and peaceful practices, I think one of the most important part is to, as yesterday she had mentioned from the sutra, to be able to find a place of solace, to find a place of calm and tranquility, and that's home. So when I come home to Hualien, and I'm sure for all of you, when you come home from Hualien to Hualien, you will also feel the same way. And that's actually a little bit closer to what Master has been telling us about the peaceful and joyous practices. So today, very quickly, we are going to continue, and let us welcome our friends from the Philippines, as well as our friends from Indonesia, and all of our friends who are our regular audience to this weekly review. And we will now begin. So previously, we talked about chapter 14, still in chapter 14, and it's a joyous and peaceful practice. And we did a full review about chapter 13, and which Master actually alluded to today. In chapter 13, Buddha mentioned how difficult it is in the future, which is our present right now. It will be very difficult to spread the Dharma and to teach the Dharma. And while it's difficult, in the beginning of this chapter 14, Bodhisattva Manjushri asked the Buddha, please, if it's so difficult and full of traps and challenges, please do tell us of a way that we can practice that it will not only bring the fruit to others, but also it will bring us joy and peace in our heart and all the people's heart. And that's the beginning of chapter 14. So all the things here is in response to Manjushri asking the question. And today, in today's Xun Ma Xiang, Master was once again very clear in saying that it was with the wisdom and the compassion of the Buddha and Manjushri, so that we have now a very clear path in front of us, of what to do, so that we could have joyous and peaceful practices. I think one of the center has forgotten to mute. Can we all please check which center it is to make sure that we have muted? Thank you. So that's what we talked about last week on chapter 14, the review, overall picture of the review of chapter 14. And we also talked about the karmic cycles, because at the time, I think last week, Master had raised several different examples of the cycle and how we should seize the moment. Lastly, it was about the emptiness of the Dharma, the emptiness of the true principle. How do you actually get it? And in there, we summarized that it's not something, it's more like air. You cannot just grab onto the air, but rather you let it naturally come in. So you breathe naturally, or the air will go in and out of our skin when we do our, whether it's evaporation or respiration, not just through our nose, not just through our respiratory organs, but it's more of let it come in, let it seep in. It's just like the Dharma incense that permeates the air. The more that you are in the room where there is full of Dharma, the more likeliness that the Dharma will seep into you and it will interact with the Dharma or the Buddha nature that's within yourself. So that's what we talked about last week. So very quickly, let us move on to this week because there's a lot of things to be said today. And so now, this week, we're going to talk about conditioned and unconditioned Dharma. And this is something that Master had come back to on and again. Many often, very frequently, talk about 有为法, 无为法, or in English, it's called the conditioned and unconditioned Dharma. Okay, what they are. Second thing we're going to talk about, and it's once again talk about today in Xun Fa Xiang, is the free of timidity and fear. What it means is that the speaker, the person spreading the Dharma, the teacher of the Dharma, the teacher of the principles, should be free of the fear and thereby can be joyous and peaceful in teaching and spreading the Dharma. And lastly, we're going to talk about the spirit of Tzu and what it really means. And in Chinese, it's actually it's a very hot term right now, a very key term right now. It's called Tzu Hun. And to do a quick translation, it's just the spirit of Tzu, but it's something that I wanted to briefly talk about. So these are the three things we want to talk about. And for those newcomers, we only have 30 minutes, so I can't really cover all 7 days, including up until today, from last week, Sunday, all the way until this week, Saturday. 7 days of morning Dharma talk. It's almost 7 hours and of content. So we're going to only find the key parts that I would like to share. And these are the principles. And the rest of the content, we have the English captions, both done by the Malaysian team and the Hualian team. And that will be able to help you in your studies and in your pursuit of understanding the Dharma. Okay, so quickly, first, conditioned and unconditioned Dharma. First, I would like to do a quick exercise. Yes, I do not see you, but you see me and you can hear me. So let us do a very quick exercise. Do not worry, this is not something to make you sweat or make you work really hard. It's a very simple and easy and quick exercise. So follow what I say. Follow what I say. Raise your right hand. Everybody, raise your right hand. I cannot see you, but I know you're not doing it right now. Raise your right hand. Good. Raise your right hand, okay? Raise your right hand and touch your nose. Touch your nose. Okay, very good. How many people are touching your nose right now? There are some people that hear what I say, which I said touch your nose. But right now, what am I touching? I am touching my forehead. Okay, so why are you touching your forehead? Because I touch my forehead, right? I'm sure some of you touch your nose. I'm sure some of you touch your forehead. I'm sure some of you didn't raise your hand, but that's not the point. The point I want to make is be mindful. We hear this mindfulness all the time. Master says it, and she even said it that before, she always says it at the end. Now it has gotten so important, she says it in the beginning and the end, and probably many, many, many times in between. But how often do we really get to hear it? And what does that mean to be mindful? Where is this mind? Is it here? And in Chinese, it's 多用心. Where is the heart? Is it here? Where is it? Can you pull this heart out and say, oh, this is the heart that I'm using? Or can you pull this brain out and say, this is the mind that I'm using? What is this? Answer coming up. So we often hear this quote. And the quote is, to see with your ears, to listen with your eyes. And if you're any bit scientific, or maybe you don't have to be scientific, just any bit logical, you would say that there's something wrong with this statement. How do you see with your ear? My ear, it doesn't have an optic nerve. It's not connected to optic nerve, and there's no way to receive any light. So how is my ear able to see? And how is my eye? How are my eyes to be able to listen? It has no eardrum. It has no way, any shape or form to be able to receive the waveform. So how do I see with ear and listen with eyes? When Master says this, I think most of us know the answer. The answer is we need to be mindful. We are seeing not with the ears, not with the eyes, but with your heart. We are listening not with the eyes, not with the ears, but with your heart. And that's why when we, in that little exercise that we just did, I said, follow what I say, touch your nose, but I touch my forehead. And many people, you would listen, but you're not listening. You were just hearing me, and you still see with your eyes. And so you follow me and you touch your forehead. For some of you that are listening with your ears, you might actually touch your nose. But what is the point? The point is that Master wants us to be mindful, to not just be focused on our receptors, our eyes, our nose, our ears, our tongue, our skin, or even our mind, to receive all these stimulus, but rather with your heart. To see with your ears is the same as to say to see with your heart. But how can your heart see? Your heart, this heart, is an organ that beats. It definitely has no any organ. It's not an organ you can see. But what does that really mean? What does that really mean? And this is where we come into the key parts. Conditioned Dharma. It's something that's very concrete. The conditioned Dharma is something that is coming out of the dependent condition. It means there is a cause, and there's a condition, and there's an affinity, and therefore it will arise, and it will fall. It will come to form, and it will come to disappear. That's what conditioned Dharma is. Anything that can form will have an end. Anything that has a beginning will have an end. Anything that we can see, form, objects, will eventually die away. That's conditioned Dharma, and we need to be acute. Our eyes need to see, our ears need to hear, and our mouth and our tongue need to taste, our nose we can smell, and our heart we can receive the Dharma. These are something that we can concretely touch, see, and hear. And that's conditioned Dharma. So when you hear my words, touch your nose, or when you see me touch my forehead, those are very conditioned. Those are conditioned Dharma that we can see and we can actually act on. However, the unconditional Dharma, unconditioned Dharma, are the ones that's something that we cannot see, something that is void, space, emptiness. It's absence of hindrance and obstruction. And what does that mean? It means it's the true principle that has no beginning and therefore has no end, that has no form and therefore it's infinite. It's not finite because it has no beginning. Therefore there's no end. You cannot count it. You cannot count it and therefore it's infinite. It's the things that you cannot see. It's the things that you cannot feel. It's only something that you can be enlightened to. And that's the principles. So Master on April 30th talk about the true Dharma is when the conditioned Dharma combined with the unconditioned Dharma. What does that mean? How do you combine the two? Something that you can see and hear and talk and do and touch and form, combined with something that you cannot see and you cannot touch. What does that mean? Let me give you an example. Gratitude, respect, love, and why. What does that mean? Gratitude, respect, and love is something that we all come to be very familiar with. We are grateful, and we respect others, and we love others. We love everybody. And those are the actions that we can do. In fact, those are the things that we tell and we teach and we ask everybody to do. Those are very conditioned. However, the why is the reason why we do this is the unconditioned. It's something that we cannot see. So why am I grateful? Why should I respect others? Why should I love others? For example, coming up next is the 3 no's in the world. There's no one in the world that I do not love. There's no one in the world that I do not trust. There's no one in the world that I cannot forgive. Why? So many people often ask, why Tzu Ji? And the reason of the why is the unconditioned. So the things that we do in Tzu Ji, all the activities, all the things that we say, all the things that we see, all the things that we do in Tzu Ji are the conditioned. And the unconditioned Dharma is the reason behind everything that we do. That is why when Master talked about the true Dharma, unconditioned versus combined with the conditioned, when you combine them together, that's where the Dharma really is. It's not just talking emptiness, but it's actually concrete doing. It's not only doing, but it's also understanding the reason behind it. So for example, gratitude, respect, and love. How do you explain that? Why should we be grateful? And I wanted to take us back to all the different chapters in Lotus Sutra. In the Lotus Sutra, all the disciples, eventually, all of them, in fact, not even disciples, anyone are eventually were bestowed the future Buddhahood. The Master always say that everyone has this Buddha nature in them. In fact, everyone is a future Buddha. And if you believe that all the people sitting next to you, in front of you, and in yourself are going to be the future Buddha, then we have to be grateful. Why are we grateful? Because Buddha is our teacher. And you have all these teachers around you. Shouldn't we be grateful? Absolutely. Shouldn't we be respectful? Absolutely. All these are Buddha. All these are my role models, my teachers. Of course, I should respect. And love. That goes without saying. If you are Buddha yourself, then you are the embodiment of compassion, of love, of unconditioned love. And the reason behind gratitude, respect, and love, the idea that all beings, all sentient beings are all Buddha, that's the unconditioned Dharma. So that's what I wanted to bring out, is that when we are just doing something, anything that we are doing, anything that we do, for example, lining up the chairs, putting the chairs together, sweeping the floor, cleaning the bathroom, everything that we do, those are considered to be conditioned Dharma. If we are just focused on the conditioned Dharma, then one day we will be tired. One day we will be worn thin. One day we will quit, because when we are out of energy, when we're out of time, we are not going to come back to it. We must always combine that with unconditioned Dharma of why we're doing this. If you ask any of the environmental and recycling volunteers, they would tell you that they would do these things until the last day until the last breath, until the last day of their lives. Because they are not just focused on doing. They have this unconditional, unspoken, something that cannot be explained with words, a feeling that drive them to do what they do. And I think that is very important. That's why Master says we need to combine the actions that we do with the principles and the reasons behind it. So that's why a lot of times we ask you, all of you, and it's something that we should ask ourselves, is what we're doing, do we know why we're doing this? Do you know why you're coming to the early morning Xun Fa Xiang, the morning Dharma talk? Do you know why we're in Tzu Ji? Because only then, when we find the answer to that why, then we would have the unconditioned Dharma to match with the conditioned Dharma. Then any problem that happens, whether it's between people, whether it's finding challenges and difficulties, then we will be able to merge them and always go back to the why. That is where true Dharma is. So that's a very brief explanation of what conditioned and unconditioned Dharma is. And it's something that will come up and up again. So it's something that we need to try to, hopefully this will open the door slightly open so that we can try to feel it a little bit more. So when we are truly needing to feel with our hearts, we will not forget to just look and see with our eyes, but also to look and see with our hearts. The next part is the free of timidity and fear, thereby joyous and peaceful. And it's something that I found to be very, very close to my heart, and I'll explain soon. It's something that I think it was in May 1st. These are the verses of Master on that day. So the Chinese is actually the verses on that day. And I did a brief translation, quick translation, interpretation of what it means. So true principles are profound. So we must practice the teachings as taught in sutras, okay? And always speak of the Dharma and principles. And what that means is these principles are very profound. And the sutras lay out a foundation and a path. And I think this is what Master said today as well. It's a path. The people that have paved the path with their actions. And the Buddha have paved the path with opening of the sutra, with the beginning of the sutra. So now that we only can rely on the sutra itself, so we must practice the teachings as taught in the sutras. And always, when we open our mouth, that's what it means, we always speak of the Dharma and principles. What that means is, in our actions, in our words, in our thought, it should always be originating from Dharma. It should originate from wisdom. It should always originate from compassion. Every word and phrase we say should direct others to resolve and relieve their troubles. So the first part, it talks about ourselves. How do we purify ourselves such that all the actions that we do, all the words we say, and all the thoughts that we have originates from the Dharma itself? That is transforming self. The next part, every word and phrase we say should direct others to resolve and relieve their troubles. Meaning, not only do I purify myself, but we also bring this enlightenment and awakeness to other people. And so the verse goes further. This is the verse from Master's words. So if we are clear in what we learn, and this is what it means, if we are clear in what we see from the sutra, if we are clear in our practices, if we're clear in what Master and Buddha had taught us, and we follow all the principles, then there is no reason to fear. And these are the particular parts, especially about the teacher of the Dharma. Master on that day was talking about that, yes, from chapter 13, Buddha and many of the disciples had mentioned that there are many daunting tasks, people not listening, people slandering the teachers of the Dharma. People are making these fake news. People are generating rumors and unreal things, alternate facts. And these are the things that's damaging the people of the followers and disciples, the practitioners of the Dharma. But you should not be afraid. In chapter 14, Manjushri asked how we can walk a path that is safe for the newcomers as well as the experienced. And the Buddha replied, if you follow the purity of your actions, of your words and your thoughts, and everything that we do originates from Dharma to reach out and relieve other people's suffering. And if we are clear in what we learn and follow the path, then there is no reason to fear. And I want to share with you the story from Africa. This is Swaziland, one of the countries where unfortunately, or fortunately, there are zero Taiwanese immigrants of Tzu Chi volunteers. There's zero. Okay, so how do we even get there? Well, amazing, right? Amazing. In Africa, it just grows and grows and grows. So in this location, there's very little. There's zero Chinese volunteers there, but there are Asian population there. Okay, so after 3 years, okay, they worked very hard. 2014, they began to go there and spread the Dharma and plant the seeds. 3 years later, and you can see that in these two red boxes, these are actually the places where they do their tea parties. This is the place where they spread and teach and share the Dharma. And this is the place where when South African volunteers go to Swaziland, they need a place to stay. And this is where they stay, okay? This place is new. This is a place where the land was actually belonged to the kingdom of Swaziland. And it was given to a chieftain in Swaziland. And however, this chieftain knows what Tzu Chi had been doing. For the past 3 years, he had come and listened, and he had seen what Tzu Chi had done. And therefore, even though this land was bestowed upon him from the kingdom, it was his. And therefore, he said, now I see that Tzu Chi needs a bigger place. It's not going to be a small place like this, but it needs a much bigger place so that we can gather more people to help more people. This is good teaching, and we need more people to do this. We need more people to come. So naturally, he said, I have a piece of land, and I'm willing to give. So I'll give it to you. Our volunteers, go and survey the site and look at this place. Beautiful. Flat. It's very flat. You can see the hill further away, but it's flat and it's really wide. It's wide open. This is like the African grassland, the meadows. You can see the grass. You can see the grazing cows in the corner. This is truly African. And this piece of land, and the volunteers loved it. Within 2 months, by ourselves, our own volunteers, they built this place. I didn't put the place, but anyway, they built it. It was completed. And I'm sorry I didn't have the picture of that. That was unfortunate. But they built it, and it was amazing because they said it was the time. They finished it at the time when Master was speaking about in the Lotus Sutra the emergence of the stupa, of the treasure tower, and to them that was their treasure tower. They were really, really happy, and they're all happy. But the true story behind this is the chieftain, the one that encircled in red. This is the chieftain that donated land. And when he chose to donate the land, there were people making threats to him. How could you take the land that belonged to the kingdom, take the land that belonged to the king himself, that was given to you because you're a chieftain, and how could you give this land to a bunch of foreigners of different religious belief? How could you? If you do this, you are going to hell. And the chieftain heard this. Yes, he was determined. Yes, he believes. Yes, he believes that Tzu Chi is doing something right. But he was still afraid. He was afraid. Should I do this? Do I want to go to hell? Am I really going to go to hell? Am I in danger? So he still goes ahead, but he was not sure. He had the fear and doubt in him. Should he do this? The brother to the right that is using a walker right now is a pastor in his community. Upon hearing this, look at him. He's already a certified commissioner in South Africa, even though he is a servant of God. But he's certified in Africa. So he goes over, he talks to this chieftain, and he says, what's going on? My friend, why do you look so worried? The chieftain replied, because while I'm happy to give this land to Tzu Chi, there have been people saying that I'm going to hell for this. I think they don't understand, but what should I do? And this brother, who is now recovering from a very serious case of tuberculosis, but now who is recovered, but in the picture is still very weak, he said, giving this land to Tzu Chi is the right thing to do. And if that means you are going to hell for it, I will go with you. You will not be alone, and we'll be there together. Have no fear. And that's what it means, that if you follow the path, if you do everything, your mind, your thoughts, your words, your action, all follow the teachings of the sutra. And if you follow the path that was laid out in front of you, to know that this is the right thing to do for all the volunteers, whether African or Asian or anyone that has cultivated the land of Africa, if you follow this path, you know that it's right, then there will be no fear. And that's exactly what they said. No fear. And I wanted to share this with you because I myself feel the same way. When at first we are doing the morning Dharma talk translation, I don't know if you have heard of the story of foxes, that if you somehow say or tell or share Dharma that is deviated, then for many, many future lifetimes, you will become a fox. You will be born as a fox because you have spoken incorrectly of the Dharma. And there were times when we were doing translation that we do interpretation that is not complete, because after all, we are learning ourselves. And how can we translate something or interpret something when we are learning, when we are students as well? But we do our best. And there are people that said to me, you know that if you say the wrong things, you are going to be born as fox in the future life. And this is what I said to them too. And I'm grateful that we have a full team, a whole team of us, believing that if that means, if by doing this, we can open the door to Dharma, to all the people that may not understand because of language or may not understand because of whatever reason, and we have the affinity to reach out with our sharings or our sharings of different type and open the door for these people, open their doors to the Dharma. If we can do that so that they can slowly and surely understand and find the wondrous Dharma that's within. If that's what we can do, and if that leads to us becoming foxes in the future, then so be it. Then we will be happily, joyous, peaceful foxes in the future. And I'm glad, because it seems that we have a group of people and volunteers not willing to become foxes. No one wants to become animal, to become animals. But if that's what it needs to be, then we will be there. And we will still do what needs to be done, because there is no fear, because we're doing what needs to be done, and that is the right thing to do. Lastly, I wanted to come back to the spirit of Tzu. And this is a term that has been used many, many times. And I wanted to clarify what it means to me. In Chinese, it's called 慈济魂, or in direct translation, you could call it the ghost of Tzu Chi. But I don't want to really call it the ghost, because, why do we want to say that, right? But what is it really? Or the essence of Tzu Chi, the spirit of Tzu Chi, what is it? And I wanted to share with you that's that feeling, like no matter what happens, whether it's raining or hot as the summer day, 40 degrees, 50 degrees, or it's raining, snowing, that thing that will still make you want to do, no matter what the challenges and difficulties, you will still want to do, that's called the spirit of Tzu Chi. And we're all in Tzu Chi because we had that. We had it. Now, along the time, maybe something changed. Maybe somebody came over and said something. Maybe you hear something, maybe you said something, maybe you did something, maybe somebody did something to you, maybe somebody said something to you. Along the way, that focus is lost. But that's what Master has been saying. Call back the spirit of Tzu Chi. Refocus in what we are doing. Refocus and relocating, finding what made us a volunteer, what made us a Tzu Chi person, a Tzu Chi soul, a Tzu Chi spirit. What made us that in the first place? If you still have it, great, congratulations. Hold on to it, for that is very dear and that's the most important treasure that we would have. But if you have lost it, hear my pleading, find it. Use the Dharma, calm yourself down. In your peacefulness, find it, because that will allow you to go through any challenges and difficulties. And if you find yourself doing something no longer finding the energy or the oomph to do it, then that means along the way, that spirit of Tzu Chi is going further and further away from you, and you're losing steam. So finding it is very important. And for us, I think we are the very precious few people in this world that our life is filled with meaning and purpose. That is coming from the spirit of Tzu Chi. So this doesn't have to be anything dealing with Tzu Chi, but Tzu Chi Hun means just that. Something that when you think about, you have the fire in you to say, yes, let's do it. Something that when you think about, whether it's in the calmness of the night or in the noontime when we're about to eat, any moment you think about it, you go like, yes, that's what we want to do. That's the essence. And find that drive back is going to be so important because it will only become more difficult, as predicted by the Buddha. Even though the Buddha had laid the path in front of us to be simple, to be easy, to be peaceful and calm, it will be difficult. And we need to walk on the path, yes. But the way to do that is to find the spirit to guide us, to drive us, to give us the energy to get through the difficulties. So that's my sharing for today. And hopefully, if you have it, grab onto it. Grab onto it dearly. If you don't have it or if you have lost it, find it quickly, because otherwise the difficulties are going to be upon us and it will be very difficult. So thank you. And that's my sharing for today. And Sister Xiaojing, please take over. We're going to go through the next part of sharing, opening the floor to the sharing. Thank you.
Good morning, Brother Joe, for the most inspiring and moving talk today. We are in Singapore today. We are very honored to have two brothers from Medan with us, Brother Jing and Brother Peter. We are going to hear from Sister Moyni today. She will share her talk in Sufi because
Can you hear me? Hello, I'm Wilin Omitofo. Good morning. Good morning, all sisters, brothers of Dharma, and Changsu Sifu. Good morning. But today's sharing, I hope I send a positive message over because it's an unpleasant experience that I encountered during one of Tzu Chi activity that I participated overseas. All right. It was during an occasion when I was singing Huike with my hands, with my palms together. Somebody from behind hit me from behind. All right, very, very hard. That and when I turned back, I saw it was a commissioner who hit me from behind. All right, and I hold this very, very. I was very, very angry, but I have no ground for appeal to who, because in Tzu Chi we don't have, somebody do this to me and I complain, so and that person to be punished. All right, so this unpleasant experience, all right, linger in my mind for many, many years. All right, and it played in my mind for thousands of times again during the past 5 years, until one day I realized that I was planting a very bad seed. I mean, as in like I may create a bad karma, 种恶因. That I realized that I must get rid of this unpleasant experience out of my mind, but I do not know how. All right. So the only way that I could resolve this too was like, because I cannot reach Sangren or whoever there in, the feedback from the commissioner was that it was I spoke to a few of my close friends, Tzu Chi friends again. They told me it was a bad karma that I created a bad affinity with that person, that she hit me, as a consequence. All right, cause and effect, right, that kind of thing. But I couldn't accept that being a new volunteer in here. So it didn't help me. In fact, when this unpleasant experience keep playing in my mind, that my hatred gets deeper and deeper, until one day, whenever I have this thing playing in my mind, that I keep sneezing. Sneezing means that when your immunity system is low, that something bad is you are experiencing, that you keep sneezing. Okay, so I always have this. So until one day I realized the seriousness in this, having this in my mind, that I wanted to resolve it. So I resorted to reading Sangren's karma, the sutra. Okay, so the book that I flipped was 地藏王菩萨经啊，上人讲述. So that time, the first page that I flipped was, it was early in the morning. I was having a cup of coffee in front of me and with the book with the sutra book in front of me. The first thing that came to me was that 知孝道, 种孝道, 明因果. Okay, so the 明因果, no, understanding tarot about karma, all right, the cause and effect, that caught me when that unpleasant experience played in my mind, but this time with a different version in my mind. It happens like this: when the person was hitting me, was about to hit me, right? Assuming this is my body, all right, I jump from, I look at, another me, part of me jump out from there and observe it as a spectator, as an observer, okay, looking at the body form being hit by the person, and I was looking at it and saying, oh, it was being hit, this body form was being hit, okay? So when this new version being played in my mind, then I was relieved that, oh, why was I so attached to my body form that I couldn't let it go? Because she hit me only once, but when it played in my mind for thousands of times, she hit me thousands of times. But when in fact it was only one time she hit me. All right. Okay. So I hope through this, all right, we will everybody be more mindful when we are doing participating or doing anything. All right. Our 身口意, our body, our mouth, and our mind must be congruent, all right, and create increase our awareness. I assume when I don't like a person, I would know immediately I don't like this behavior. But the thing is that I must be aware. I should not create another bad karma because of that. So I must learn how to create good karma with this person. Okay. So I hope from this sharing, all right, I send a positive message over that whatever we do be mindful and increase our awareness when we are, whatever we are doing, be congruent to what we say and what we do. All right. Thank you.
We have a big family here. And over to you, Brother Joe.
Okay, so we will now have Master Xi to respond to Sister's wonderful sharing.
Hi, good morning. Sorry, because I have no idea how to address you. So I'll say, Sister, this is a very good sharing. It shows that you are progressing, okay, mind mastery. Because actually spiritual cultivation, the most important thing of spiritual cultivation is be mindful, be aware of the present moment, okay? This is why Master is always telling us, 多用心, huh? Okay, Sister Mui Lin, okay? So Sister Mui Lin showed us that, okay, she actually, finally she realized after years, okay, 5 years, that that she is having this affliction, this one time incident, okay, but she's replaying in her mind over again for few years, 5 years. So imagine if you are doing something and then suddenly your mind just go back to that incident, track back to that incident years ago. So your mind is not at the moment. So you are actually not fully aware of the present moment. You're losing the moment, and this moment is passing by, never come back. So after years, she finally realized that this body is actually not the real self. Okay, this is the unreal self. Okay, but a lot of people have no idea. They thought this is the real us, the real me, and all this emotion. They have this emotion and memories, and they keep replaying. And finally, she got it a few years later, And now she actually turned around, okay? 转念, turn it around, and she can have a better peace of mind, peaceful mind. And this peaceful mind, 静极清真, is very important in spiritual cultivation, okay? Not only unpleasant memories should we erase it, okay? Turn it around, okay? But even pleasant memories like being praised, okay? A good memories, we should also erase it, because all these are affliction. The better one, the good one, or the bad one, they cannot linger in our mind after the incident. We should just let go of the pleasant or unpleasant, so that we have a better awareness of the present moment. This is the mind masteries. With a fuller awareness of the present moment, then we are more into the moment and have a better, clearer mind in handling the current task. Okay, so congratulate. Okay, at least you know that you're actually progressing in this mind contractually. This is spiritual cultivation. Okay, so I'm very happy to hear that. Okay, you hear this. So I just want to share that not only the unpleasant moment you have to let go, even the pleasant ones, we all have to let go. Okay, thank you.
Okay. 感恩师父. So do we? I think we will continue on to the question and answer, unless there are more. Sister Xiaoxing, is there more to share, or we will move on to QA?
That's it. Brother.
Okay, that's it. Okay, so we'll now move on to the QA, and I'm going to share the screen here. So so let's see. We're going to go into question 2 first, and that will be answered by Dharma Master Xi as well.
Okay, so this question sounds like this. What is knowing Master Chen Yan's mind? And how to comply to Master's mind and vow? And how do we remove ignorance? So there are actually 3 questions here. Okay, so the first one, what is knowing Master minds? Well, knowing Master view, her perspective, and her mission, her vow. As a disciple, you should all know what it is and how to make Master mission vow, our own missions. Okay, if you listen to Master sermons every day, either it's Xunfa Xiang, or whether it's the morning volunteer assembly, and that you know what Master mind is, what is her perspective of the matters and her vow. Okay, so we all know her compassion, her wisdoms, and her unconditioned love. Okay, are all above the average, the sage. Okay, so, and her missions, her vow is to purify people's mind and to lead all of us on the alternate path of enlightenment of truth, and that is the Bodhisattva path. So understanding it's easy, okay? It's not difficult, but actually practicing it it's not the easy one, okay? So how do we comply to Master's mind and vow? Well, just do what Master wants us to do, okay? So listening to the Dharma every day and then practice it in your daily life. Well, not only when you're doing Tzuchi's work, when you are serving others, but also but also in your personal everyday life. Not only when you're actually wearing Tzuchi uniforms, okay? You have to behave like Tzuchi volunteers, no. But okay, absorb and integrate it in your own personal life and change. You'll realize that you're actually changing towards the better characters, a more peaceful mind, and then people will start to like you better, and then you have better affinities, and you actually influence others and follow Master. Together, we can lead people to follow Master together. So it all start from you yourself, okay? Change from ourselves. It begins from us. So the last question, how do we remove ignorance? Again, the same answer, listening to the Dharma, listening to Master's sermons, okay? At first, you have to understand it theoretically, okay? The theory, you have to understand it first. But even if you don't fully understand, never mind, okay? Keep it here or contemplate it, okay? Wen, shi xiu, the first is wen. So you have to listen and then contemplate. The one that you don't understand, you have to contemplate it over and over again and look for it. You can ask the other fellow practitioners, or you can just observe around you. The Dharma is actually everywhere around you. It's just that we are ignorant of its existence, okay? Just be more into the moment, okay? So, wen, shi, and then after careful contemplation, okay, choose the actions based on what you contemplate, okay, based on the right contemplation, okay. Choose the actions based on wisdom, not based on ignorance. Wen, shi, xiu, okay. That is how we should. The first thing is to remove the affliction, remove the worries, okay, and then get to obtain a peaceful, quiet mind, okay. So don't be discouraged, okay, if you don't understand. But at least listen and then keep it here. The answer, you'll know it somehow, someday, okay. I don't want to elaborate longer because if I elaborate, then I'll go into three flawless studies and blah blah blah. But start with listening to the Dharma, okay. Thank you.
Okay, 感恩师父. So now we are going to go into the question 4. And Sister Debbie is going to share with us. Let's see, so, okay.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. And for question 4, I believe that no one would disagree that we are living in the real world. We will meet good people who will make us feel happy and comfortable. And of course, we will meet someone we don't want to go along with. So everyone has their own unique personality, habits, and point of view, just like you and me. At the same time, our Buddha heart will polluted by the greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, doubts, 五毒, year after year, and became bad habits. When things are not going our way, bad habits will show in our behavior. To me, I always try to concentrate on others' good things instead of the bad. If we keep practicing this way, our heart will gradually open wide enough to accept all kinds of people. So what we can do is to take this person as a sample to remind ourselves. If we were to see his shortcomings, we can remind ourselves not to become like him or her. Just do our best to follow Master's teaching and also put it into our action. If we are following and using the Buddha and Master's teaching in our daily lives, people will see us as a practitioner, the one who is doing spiritual cultivation diligently. And we can also encourage others because they will see the benefits which we gained from attending the Dharma teaching and practice at dawn. In Tzu Chi, the more the good models could see, I think the more the strength will be. Bring positive influence to small groups of people and even many, many more to make a good change. So if we want more people to join Tzu Chi 菩萨大招生, do our utmost to show our gratitude, respect, and love in our action. Let us starting loving those whom Master loves because they also love Master and Tzu Chi as we do. So it's my sharing today. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to thanks to Sifu and also and Sister Debbie for the sharing. And I think the question today happened to resonate really well with Sister Muiling's sharing. I think this question 4 almost is exactly what Sister Muiling had gone through. And I wanted to say that, honestly, it wasn't this person whose voice and attitude is harsh that encouraged you to learn about the Dharma. It was yourself. So ultimately, this is the thing that I really believe, is that we ourselves are responsible and to find this Dharma. And you've stayed because you know that there's something meaningful here, that you are not going to be discouraged by others. That's very important. And that's why we always go back to the why. Don't do this for other people, because when that reason no longer is there, you are not going to come and you are going to miss out on all these wonderful teachings. So thanks to Sister Muiling's sharing. And let me tell you, yes, the person hit you once. Yes, you replayed it thousands of times in your mind, that as if you are being hit thousands of times. But let me tell you, it's very worth it. Imagine if we are sleeping and the person next to you try to wake you and nudge you one time, and you are not awoken. But if you are not awake, you are going to miss your bus, or you're going to miss your flight, and that's horrible. So this person, even though not only one time, but in your mind you play thousands of times, keep on hitting you until you wake up. Isn't that worth it? Absolutely. So another way to look at it is, sometimes if it's just a very comfortable, polite squeeze or a hug and say, Sister Muiling, please don't put no palms together now. It should be like this. If it's something like that, maybe you would never have awakened to this realization. But because of that, you got it. Oh, after 1,000 times, after thousands of times we play. But if that were the case, wouldn't you feel that it's very much worth the effort? And this person only did one time. You did all the work by replaying it thousands of times. And because you are adhere to the Dharma, because you are sticking to the Dharma. And that's what makes you stay. So once again, thank you all. And that's all the time that we have for today. 2 questions. Once again, thanks to the masters and also the masters that are here today. And thanks to all the brothers and sisters. Next week, it's the Buddha's birthday ceremony. So on Saturday, so we will not, as a lot of our participants have to go through, whether it's the rehearsal. So next week we will be off. The Dharma sharing will be off next week, but we will still have the morning Dharma talk translation, the live Xun Fa Xiang translation caption. And that was still 礼拜六呢？礼拜天才是当天吧？ Yeah. So anyway, we will give you notice. Okay, we'll give you notice on whether there's going to be any action. But there's no Dharma sharing next week, so I am very sad. There's no Dharma sharing next week. But we'll come back in 2 weeks, right? And for the 2 weeks that we are not seeing each other, we will be feeling a lot of Dharma, and that's what we need to do, so we can find and see and share the joy that Sister Muiling felt today. And thank you so much for sharing that joy with us. And we can all find this joy and peace in all of us and practice it. So thank you once again. And thanks to all the people here. And let's wave goodbye to all of our friends and Dharma brothers and sisters. We will see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
我的项目大概是